This video tutorial will take a look at solving quadratic equations by completing the square. We are going to solve the quadratic equation x squared minus 5x minus 5 equals 0 by completing the square. This quadratic equation is already in standard form. Standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. In our example, we do not show an a value because the a value is 1. Our b value is negative 5. And our c value is also negative 5. In many strategies to solve quadratic equations, we do want our equation in standard form. This is not the case though when we are using the strategy of completing the square. To complete the square, we want just our ax squared term and our bx term on the left side of the equation. So to get rid of the minus 5 on the left side, we will add 5 to both sides of the equation, leaving us with x squared minus 5x equals 5. So we have successfully got just our ax squared term and our bx term on the left side. So we can proceed now with completing the square. To complete the square, we will take half of our b value, which would be negative 2.5, and then square it, which would be a positive 6.25. So we add this to the left side of our equation. What we do to one side of an equation, we must also do to the other side. We can simplify 5 plus 6.25 to 11.25. Now that we have completed the square, the left side of our equation is a perfect square trinomial, and we can factor it as such. This would be x minus 2.5 squared. So our equation now is x minus 2.5 squared equals 11.25. Now, because x minus 2.5 is being squared, we can take the square root of this to undo the square. Again, the square root and the square will cancel one another out, which is what we want. What we do to one side of an equation, we must also do to the other side. Looking to the left side of the equation, the square root and the square will cancel one another out, leaving us with just x minus 2.5. On the right side, the square root of 11.25, which is approximately 3.35. The square root of 11.25 could also be a negative 3.35. So we will write this as a positive or negative 3.35. At this point, it's probably easiest to break this down into two separate equations. We have x minus 2.5 equals positive 3.35 and x minus 2.5 equals negative 3.35. Solving the first equation, we get x equals 5.85, and solving our second equation, we get that x equals negative 0.85. So we have our two solutions for the quadratic equation, x equals 5.85 and x equals negative 0.85. Let's check our solutions for accuracy by substituting them into the original equation. We will start by substituting our first answer, 5.85, in for both x's. According to order of operations, we do our exponents first, so 5.85 squared is 34.2225. Then we do multiplication, 5 times 5.85, which is 29.25. 34.2225 minus 29.25 is approximately 4.97. And 4.97 minus 5 is negative 0.03, which is very, very close to 0. And in fact, we are just a little bit off here because on a couple separate occasions we rounded. Namely, we rounded when we did the square root of 11.25. So it is okay that our answer is off by just a little bit. So our first answer checks out. Let's now substitute our second solution in for both x's. Now we will simplify according to order of operations. Doing exponents first, negative 0.85 squared is 0.7225. Then multiplication, 5 times negative 0.85 is negative 4.25. 0.7225 minus a negative 4.25 is 4.97, and 4.97 minus 5 is negative 0.03, which is just a little bit off, but this is okay as explained earlier. So our second solution is accurate.